Nobody gets married hoping that someday they'll get divorced. I mean, when we get married, we all dream of happily ever after. We want that thriving, intimate, passionate relationship, that fairy tale romance. But then what happens? I mean, let's face it, life happens. And sometimes marriage can be really, really hard. Sometimes it's hard in a relationship to feel like we're getting our needs met, to feel like we understand the other person, or to feel like we can really communicate with them. Sometimes it's hard because we have such different ideas as it relates to money or sex or raising kids or religion or whatever it might be. And in those moments, we, even though we're in a relationship, can feel alone, and sometimes it can be really hard. And sometimes we're left questioning, whether the relationship is the right relationship or not. And I know you've probably experienced some relationship challenges yourself. Whether in this current relationship you're in or in a past one, there's been times where you've had that heartache. And for me, I remember when I was going through a divorce after 16 years of being married. It was the most devastating, brutal experience of my entire life. And in the moment, as I felt like my world had crumbled around me, I started to ask some really meaningful questions. I asked myself, how did I get here? And what could I have done to be a better husband? What could I have done differently? What is it that makes certain relationships succeed and thrive while so many struggle and fail? Over 50% of all marriages end in divorce. And in this searching, I began to read books and to talk to other couples, and really began to look at my own personal blocks and my own broken patterns that had created this dysfunction. And through this process, I asked a question that I feel like is the most important, which was, what could I have done different? And what advice would I have given myself if I could go back in time? Well, the day after my divorce was finalized, I took a moment and just kind of journaled and wrote out what I thought was the marriage advice I wish I would have had. If I could go back in time and talk to Gerald, 5 years ago, what would I have told him? And I just took a moment the night after my divorce and just wrote out the things that came to my mind. Well, the next day, I thought I would take this advice that I'd written to myself, and I thought I'd, share it with a few friends on Facebook, hoping that maybe one or two people might find some inspiration or some direction in my pain, that they might somehow gain some insights on how they can make their relationship better. And I wasn't prepared for what would happen. By the end of the first day, it had been shared 1,000 times, and I was shocked and I was overwhelmed. And by the end of the second day, over 7,000 times. By the end of the first week, it had been shared 70,000 times, this post, and it kept going on, being shared by these blogs and being picking up by the Huffington Post, and then I was called by the Today Show. And eventually this post continued to spiral on, being shared by tens of millions of people around the world. And I think that the reason why I connected with so many people is because all of us, we want that thriving, healthy relationship. And we're all seeking for meaning in the pain, and we all want that direction. And so through this process, I realized how important it was. And I was asked by so many people to write a book, and I resisted. I was like, I'm not a relationship expert. This isn't who I am. This isn't what I'm setting out to be. But on the other hand, I realized that I had gained so much from my journey. And I realized that in some way my mess needed to become my message, because if there was anything I could do to even save one marriage from divorce, then I knew that my pain would have meaning. And so I set out on this journey, and I decided to write this book. And in this process, I felt very clearly that, this direction from God, that my mission was to really save and empower as many marriages as possible, to save over 1,000 marriages from divorce, and to help strengthen thousands and thousands more. So through this process, I've created this book, which is the marriage advice I wish I would have had, where I take these 20 core principles of what it takes to create a thriving, healthy relationship. And I break it down with very specific, actionable lessons. And as I wrote this book, I kept going back to, okay, what advice would I have needed to have? And in the end, this book is ultimately the advice I wish I would have had myself. And I offer it to you as hopefully a way for you to find the tools and the understanding and the ways to create the breakthroughs in your life, as well as, finding ways to strengthen your relationship and create it to be something that it hasn't been in the past, to make it even stronger, to make it the truly epic relationship, the epic marriage that you want. And I don't know exactly where you're at. You might be in a great relationship and you just want to make it better. Or you could be struggling and on the brink of divorce and you're just looking for that hope to know that it's possible to create something new and to change that relationship. Or you may be like me and you've gone through divorce and you're just like, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I want to make sure that the next relationship I'm in is one that I'm going to make the biggest difference in, and I'm going to create the type of relationship that I want. Wherever you're at, this book is for you. Because relationships are really the core to our happiness. And so on this page you'll find links so that you can order your book. It's available internationally, and either a digital version or you can buy a paperback version too. And I really invite you to take this journey seriously so that your relationships can be empowered and so that you can create the relationship that you want. And I'm going to make a special invitation. As I felt like my mission is to save and empower over 1,000 marriages from divorce, I realized I can't do this alone. And so I'm asking for you to consider being part of this mission and think about the people you know in your life that are also married. And maybe they have great marriages, maybe they're struggling, but we all need this empowerment. And so I'd like to invite you to become an ambassador, right? And what that looks like is if you could take this message and share it with those that you love. Let's see the sort of ripple effect that we can create in the world. And so here's what I'd like to offer. So this book, if you buy a single copy, it's $19.95. But here's what I'd like to offer for you if you choose to be an ambassador. If you'll buy 5 of these books, so basically for $100, if you buy 5 books, I'll give you 5 more additional books for free, so you'll get 10 books altogether. And not only that, I'm going to give you a bunch of extra special bonuses as a way for me saying thank you and to hopefully pay it forward so that you can go out and, create more changes in your life. And so there's a bunch of additional bonuses. They're listed below, including additional training audio programs from both me and my friends who are relationship experts. I'll also include something which is near and dear to my heart. So I, for the last 6 years, have done transformational workshops and helped people create breakthroughs in all areas of their life. And I have this event called Live Big, which is a 3-day breakthrough experience unlike anything you've ever experienced before. It's really a phenomenal thing. One of my clients came through once and was blown away. I said, Gerald, this is like 3 years worth of personal growth packed into 3 days. Anyways, it's an event that I sell for $997. But when you become a marriage ambassador for just $100, I'll give you not only these 10 books and ship them to you, but I'll also give you a free ticket to attend Live Big. Once again, it's my way of paying it forward and hopefully making another contribution in your life and really thanking you for being part of my team as we go out and share this message and empower as many marriages as possible. So this is my invitation. All the links are below along with the additional information. I'm so grateful and so honored that you would choose to be on this journey with me and look forward to seeing the results that happen in your relationship. And I just want to remind you, you've got one life to live. Live big.